Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something super important, how to turn all that great analysis you do into powerful written recommendations that actually make things happen. We're going to walk through a step-by-step framework to make sure your best ideas get the impact they absolutely deserve.
Look, you've done the hard work, right? You've crunched the numbers, you've connected the dots, and you've got a brilliant insight. But here's the reality, that brilliant analysis is only as good as the recommendation that communicates it. If you can't sell the idea, even the best insights can just fall flat. So, today, we're going to build a roadmap together. We're going to go step by step, all the way from that messy, raw data to a polished, persuasive final document. The goal here isn't just to write a report that sits on a shelf, it's to build a recommendation that genuinely drives action.
All right, first things first. Before you even type a single word of your recommendation, you need a rock-solid foundation. And I'm not talking about just listing off a bunch of facts. This is all about pulling information together and using data to find a really clear direction.
This whole first step is really about transformation. You start by pulling together info from credible places, reports, studies, things like that. But you're not just collecting it, you're on the hunt for patterns, trends, even contradictions. You'll use key performance indicators, or KPIs, to measure what really matters. The main goal here? To turn that pile of raw data into a clear, coherent strategy that really nails the core challenge or the big opportunity. Okay, so once you've got that strong foundation, now we can actually start building the recommendation itself. Think of this part as the blueprint. It's a proven structure that's designed from the ground up for persuasion and clarity.
A really powerful recommendation has 5 essential parts. It's so simple when you break it down. First, you just state your recommendation, plain and simple. Then you explain why. That's your rationale. Next, you show how to get it done with clear implementation steps. You also have to be real about the potential challenges. And finally, you paint a picture of the awesome results, the expected benefits. Put them all together, and you've got a complete and really compelling argument. So you've got your structure, but how do you know if your idea is actually ready for the real world? Is it really actionable? Well, that's where the SMART framework comes in. It's a fantastic tool to kind of pressure test your ideas and make sure they're clear, doable, and totally focused on results.
First up, S is for specific. A recommendation like improve customer service, what does that even mean? It's way too vague. But something like implement a 24/7 live chat support system, now that is specific. It's a clear, unambiguous command, and there's just no room for misinterpretation.
Next up, M, for measurable. How are you going to know if you actually succeeded? Increased social media presence is a nice thought, but you can't really measure it. By adding concrete numbers like a 50% follower increase and a 25% boost in engagement, you create actual targets. That's how you track progress and hold people accountable.
Then we've got A for achievable. Hey, ambition is great, but your recommendation has to be grounded in reality. A goal to become the market leader in all categories within a year is, it's probably not going to happen. But a goal to achieve a top 3 market share in our main category within 18 months, that's still a big goal, but it feels a lot more realistic.
R stands for relevant, and this one is all about fitting into the big picture. For example, if you're a budget retailer, launching a line of fancy luxury watches is just weird. It's completely off-brand. But introducing a premium line of sustainable clothing, now that could be super relevant, bringing in a whole new type of customer while still fitting with the company's bigger goals.
And finally, T is for time-bound. Expand into international markets is just an idea floating out there with no deadline. But when you set a specific time frame, like launching in 3 new countries by the end of next year, you create a sense of urgency. It turns a wish into an actual plan.
Okay, so now we have a structured, smart recommendation. But honestly, none of that matters without credibility. How you present your data, that's the absolute cornerstone of building trust and making a case that people will actually listen to. This slide really shows a critical choice you have to make. On one hand, you could just cherry-pick the good news, hide the bad, maybe even fudge a chart to make things look better. That might work for a minute, but it destroys trust. The much stronger, ethical approach is to present the whole story, the good and the bad. It provides context, uses honest visuals, and builds the kind of credibility that leads to way better decisions in the long run.
Part of writing with integrity means knowing about our own mental traps. For example, confirmation bias can trick us into only looking for data that supports what we already think. Or anchoring bias might make us cling to the very first piece of info we see. Just knowing that these biases exist is a huge first step toward making our recommendations as objective and as powerful as they can possibly be.
Okay, we've made it to the final step, polishing your language. Your recommendation is structured, it's smart, it's credible. Now, let's just make sure the message itself is crystal clear so it lands with maximum impact.
Check out how a tiny change in wording can make a huge difference. Instead of saying did not remember, just say forgot. Instead of not honest, say dishonest. It's just so much more direct and punchy. And that last example is really powerful. Framing things positively tells people what to do, not what to avoid. Our brains just process it faster, and frankly, it's way more encouraging. It's all about being clear and making an impact.
At the end of the day, great recommendations aren't just about having great ideas. They're about communicating those ideas in a way that people can understand and act on. By building a strong foundation, using a clear structure, making sure your ideas are smart, and always writing with integrity and clarity, you can turn your analysis into real, meaningful action.